Fred, what have you done now?
80% of the world's diamonds come from mines in South Africa.
So I don't think someone's stockpiling them.
What we need to know is who the stockpilers are.
Curious how everyone who touches those diamonds seems to die.
Our dentist is dead in South Africa. That little old lady in Amsterdam. Shady got his last night. They've missed me once. And you're next.
We gotta get those diamonds out of here, and fast!
What are they?
They say Willard White hasn't set foot out of there in 3 years, and no one has seen him. No one.
This is not the real White House. He's not the president. Why don't we just go and see him?
Blofeld.
I do so enjoy our little visits, Mr. Bond. However potentially painful they may be.
Who are you?
One chance. Where can I find him? Let's get down to business.
Whatever's happening, Mr. Bond, has started.
You just killed James Bond.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bond, James Bond, with your host, Mike Kalinowski, and myself, Brad Gilmore, promoting our brand new book, Bond, James Bond, exploring the shaken and stirred history of Ian Fleming's 007. This will be a limited podcast series that will dive into every single James Bond movie, and we will break them down. We will give our opinions, our hot takes, or whatever comes across our mind in the world of MI6's greatest secret agent, James Bond, 007. We hope that you enjoy the podcast, so much so that you go to bondjamesbondbook.com and order our brand new book, available on bondjamesbondbook.com or wherever books are sold. Let's enjoy the podcast.
Diamonds are forever. They are all I need to please me. They can stimulate and tease me. They won't leave in the night. I've no fear that they might desert me. Diamonds are forever. Hold one up and then caress it. Touch it, stroke it and undress it. I can see every part. Nothing hides in the heart to hurt me. I don't need love. For what good will love do me?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bond, James Bond, with myself, Brad Gilmore, and the, may I say, the greatest Inner Geekdom player of all time. The greatest, tied for number one, really, tied for number one of the greatest Schmodown player of all time. It is Mike Kalinowski.
Well, from you, I'll take it. From you, I will take that.
Well, it's the truth, man. It's the truth. In due time, it shall be revealed. Hey, man, we're back talking on the podcast. We've already talked about the first 6 James Bond films. We thought maybe we were done with the Connery era. You know, you Only Live Twice was supposed to be his swan song. We got a really solid entry from George Lazenby.
Yep.
But we are back with the man who started it all, everyone's favorite Scotsman, Mr. Sean Connery, Sir Sean Connery, in Diamonds Are Forever, 1971. 1971, Diamonds Are Forever. Boy, does this feel like a 1970s movie in a lot of different ways.
Does it ever?
Came out
right into it, didn't they?
You know what's funny is it premiered on my birthday, December 14th, 1971 in West Germany. West Germany was where it premiered, which is odd. But anyway, according to Wikipedia, that is $7 million budget. I remember Connery came back and was paid $1 million for this movie. So a seventh of the budget went to Sean Connery. And okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Diamonds Are Forever.
Let's talk about this one.
Because Sean's first three are so solid. Thunderball is middle of the road. I think You Only Live Twice is a nice little bounce back from Thunderball. Overall, I'd say you have to give him a really high mark on his first run. Now he's back as Bond. The first thing that stands out to me on Diamonds Are Forever.
Okay.
He looks very un-Sean Connery like in this movie.
He does. There's so many like glamour shots of him in different books and stuff that I've read that are just like, he's got there's the giant Vegas signs behind him, and his sideburns, he's got like those mutton chops almost. And the hairpiece that he was wearing at the time, and he'd put on a little weight, I think, compared to his previous outings. It doesn't look like him at all. I mean, it does look like him, but it's just not what we're used to with Bond, with him.
It was a very rapid aging in 9 years, right? Because when you think about, think about people who've played at the same character for a long time, like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine,
I just watched all 6 Mission Impossibles, and Cruise, even from that first one, he's like, he's a young guy, but you watch, and it's 25 years now with that role. Wow. It's like, okay, it's going like a nice progression for this guy. And there's no kind of like drastic, like, oh man, you really aged in this time, but yeah.
Well, at
different time period though, different lifestyle.
That's what I was going to say. Even at the time we're doing this, literally the day that we're recording this, Tom Brady just announced his retirement from the game of football. And if you look at his 22 years, almost looks the exact same.
He does.
22 years.
Whatever he's got going on.
I mean, so it's probably a sign of the time. Sean Connery, like I said, it was a rough 9-year run for him. He looks very different, but still got the charisma of Sean Connery.
Sure
this
does.
This one has an interesting plot. The cold open is him. You don't see him ever. You hear him, but you don't see him. And of course, they're reintroducing Sean Connery to the masses as James Bond. And then the opening credits come up. And let's talk real quick before we talk about the movie. The song is iconic.
Yeah, it's a great song. It like so much that I don't care for with this film, but then there's a lot that, it's so funny. Like a lot of the times with Bond films that aren't the greatest, or people view as maybe not the best ones. Like I think about this one. I think about A View to a Kill. People, they don't really like that one with Roger Moore, and that's always on the bottom of lists of rankings. But one of the greatest Bond songs of all time. Mm-hmm. So it's so interesting what hits and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, the song in this one doesn't match the quality of the song. Doesn't match the quality of the film.
No.
Shirley Bassey is back. I think that when you're trying to bounce back from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and you have which was a good movie, aged better.
Much better.
Didn't do well at the box office of its time. So you're saying, okay, we took a risk on George Lazenby. Didn't really pan out for us. Right. What are we going to do next? Okay, we're going to bring Sean back. We're reintroducing Sean.
We got to get him back.
Let's get Sean back. Let's bring back Shirley Bassey because everyone loves her from Goldfinger. Yep. We'll have her do the title song. It's as far as Bond titles go, one of the best titled films.
Oh, yeah.
Diamonds Are Forever is the most Bondy sounding movie, right?
Yeah, great title.
So they had all these great things going for it. We're going to see Blofeld again in a different form.
You see, you could see that the behind the scenes, like, all right, we really got to get back to the fans. What can we bring back? Shirley Bassey, Connery, Blofeld, Gold. There we go. We're done. Gold. It's golden. Perfect.
Yeah, we got all the key ingredients of a Bond movie. And I will say, I even like how he is reintroduced as Sean Connery as Bond. I liked that. But then the movie starts to wane a little bit because the plot is very incoherent.
We've talked about this several times with Connery's films, and you're just like, and it's not, you think about like a lot of times nowadays with films, where you hear about 4-hour director cuts and they got to cut it down for the studio to make it. And you could see where certain things were cut and didn't make sense because they were cut. But back then, it seems like there weren't these obsessive, like long filming cuts and they were real lean films. So you're like, you just kind of went by the seat of your pants with this script, didn't you?
Yeah, it seemed just kind of like, okay, look, here's an out. You know how Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, he doesn't have a script.
Yeah.
He just has an outline of what's going to happen and they improv it. I feel like that's kind of what this movie was. Like, okay, Bond's in Vegas. Charles Gray is going to be Blofeld. We're going to have Jill St. John there. Can we just kind of make something happen?
The only thing I can think of is because, when we were researching this book, every film had so many writers, or people's hands. Early on, it didn't as much, but then it was like, especially towards the later years, 4 or 5 people, getting their hands in there, taking this from this script. And then you hear that like, oh, we wanted to use this 5 movies ago, but we knew it wouldn't work. So we plugged it in here. It's like, oh, you can see then where sometimes like things maybe don't, the train doesn't, it leaves, but it doesn't hit the station with all the correct cars on it.
Yeah. Now, this is a Tom, if I remember right, I'm looking it up. Yes, it is Tom Mankiewicz who was credited for part of the screenplay on this one, as well as Richard Malbaum. But Mankiewicz is the guy who went on to do Superman the movie. And talented writer. But when he helmed some of the Bond ones, as far as scripts go, it was a little hit and miss with him. We'll talk about his next one is Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
As far as the plot, though, again, it seems very outlined. But let's talk about some of the good of this movie.
Okay.
Biggest good for me, and then I'll let you.
But you're probably going to say the same thing I am, but I'm going to wait for you. Okay.
For me, it's Mr. Went and Mr. Kidd.
Oh, no, we're different.
Okay, I love Mr. Went and Mr. Kidd.
They're the best.
I don't know if it's said, I think, in the movie. I don't know if it's explicitly stated, but it's inferred.
I think it's it's definitely inferred.
It's definitely inferred that they're a gay couple.
Yeah.
That they're a couple. That's Bruce Glover, Crispin Glover's father.
Really?
That's Mr. Yeah, Bruce
Glover.
I
didn't know that, and now it makes total sense.
They are very similar in their total kind of
creepy, very creepy.
Bruce Glover and then Mr. Kidd, Mr. Went and Mr. Kidd. They were. I guess they were probably not probably. They're the first, I think, gay couple in a Bond movie. I think it's the first time we see any kind of homosexual depictions.
Yeah, it was funny you say that because just this morning on Twitter, someone was like, I can't believe it's been 60 years and Bond has never had an LGBTQ character. And then someone put the two of them as like, Mr. Wynn, Mr. Kidd would like a word with you. And it was like I think it was like the Guardian from the United Kingdom, like their newspaper. And I was like, Mr. Wynn, Mr. Kidd would like a word with you. And it's like, it's true.
And we even talked about in the original draft and in the book, Pussy Galore was supposed to be a lesbian.
Exactly. I think, early 60s, they're kind of like,
let's not go there.
Let's calm down right now.
But by the 70s, okay, Mr. Wynn, Mr. Kidd, definitely a couple and very villainous. I love them. And even though they're not the main villain, they're the kind of the henchmen in this movie to Charles Gray's Blofeld, but still they are, when I think of Diamonds Are Forever, they're the first thing I think about is Mr. Wynn and Mr. Kidd.
Not me.
Okay, what do you think? What's your best?
Plenty O'Toole.
Oh, yes.
Lana, what? Are you kidding me? As a kid, as a 13, 14-year-old boy seeing this movie for the first time, like my head, as like what's his name? Roger Rabbit, like a cartoon character, like my eyes, and it just shows you the impact these films have on kids sometimes too, because that's what I think of. But like Mr. Went and Mr. Kidd, like as a kid watching this movie, you don't get the gay connotations. You don't see that. You don't. It just doesn't matter. You're just like these guys are creepy. Like with the whole thing with the scorpion that they do. Yeah, man, that was creepy. It's awesome though.
Lana Wood plays Plenty O'Toole, and one of the funny Bond lines and one-liners in this movie is she comes up and she's like, "Hi, I'm Plenty." But of course you are.
I don't.
Plenty O'Toole.
Her acting is maybe not the best for me, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's why she was cast.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about a lot of the Bond movies, and even up until Casino Royale, I think certain people were cast, certain women were cast just for their physical appearance. Not to say they didn't go on to do things that were great in the acting world, but the reasons that they were cast were physical Bond reasons. I just watched The World Is Not Enough last night, and we'll get to that when we get to it.
Oh, man.
We'll get to that when we get to it. Now, here's the other one, though. For me, I love Plenty O'Toole, but Jill St. John as Tiffany Case is another just gorgeous woman.
Yeah, but annoyed the heck out of me. I don't know why.
She was a little like what's her name from Temple of Doom? Winnie?
Oh, Willie Scott.
Willie Scott. Yeah, she was a little Willie for me.
You're right. Yeah, this watching what is she like? She puts like it wasn't the computer thing down her bikini
the
bottom
tape or something.
Yeah, and she's running around and like kind of I don't want to say a buffoon, but she was kind of like a buffoon out there. I was like, yeah.
Now you want to talk about
this whole film is full of these things.
Now you want to talk about something that went completely over my head as a child. Okay. Is when Bond is, I think he's pretending. No. Actually, another great close quarters fight, which is something that's kind of signature of Bond, is in the elevator, where he fights Peter Franks in the elevator, and then he kills Peter Franks and he switches the IDs around, and that's when Tiffany Case like, you just killed James Bond. Oh, is that who it was? And there's that whole thing. But they go into her apartment.
Yeah.
And she has blonde hair, or first she has brunette hair.
She's a redhead afterwards.
So I think she's a brunette, then a redhead.
Yeah, I don't remember her being a blonde.
Okay. So it's a brunette, then a redhead. So, but she changes her wigs.
Yeah.
And then Bond mentions it, and she goes, well, what do you, or he mentions it, and she's like, well, what do you prefer? And Connery's response is, so long as the collars and cuffs match.
Just like,
as a kid, no idea what that means.
About it. Nope. And you guys are like, good for him for putting that in there. Like that. And then again, was it Bambi and Thumper?
Thumper.
Like, it's weird. Like, so in this film, it seems weird. And it's almost like they're making fun of Connery in the sense that he's fighting these two girls. But then Roger Moore does it in Moonraker, where he's fighting women in Drax's lair. And it was, I don't know if it was more believable or seemed more of a threat. I don't know. It was weird. The two very similar circumstances, but very different things. So,
I'm trying to remember what was my guy in the casino who was the comedian. You know who I'm talking about? What was his name?
It's like not Red Skelton.
No, it's like I'm trying to think of what was his name in the movie.
Not Shecky something, right? Well, I got the IMDb right here.
Shucky.
Oh God, someone in the comments can do this.
Someone is yelling right now.
Like, yeah, come on now. How do you not know this?
I keep want to say Shucky Pines, but that's wrong. What is his name?
Shady Tree.
Shady Tree?
I don't know. I'm looking up the IMDb right now. I'm trying to remember. But I thought it was a famous comedian. Well, nope, that's all the people in there. So Shady Tree.
Shady Tree's his name?
Not Saxby. There was later in there, MQ. Shady Tree, Leonard Barr.
Leonard Barr is Shady Tree.
Yep, here we go. That's it. That's him. Yep, Leonard Barr. Was a comic and eccentric dancer who was famous for truly being Dean Martin's uncle. That's him, Leonard Barr.
Oh, wow. He's Dean Martin's uncle. I did not know that.
Shady Tree.
Shady Tree. I liked his little. I thought he was nice.
I thought it was Shecky something. I
thought it was too, like Shecky Green or something like that.
Yeah.
Here's something funny, and I don't know if this is big in your household. When I was growing up, my father and mom always bought these things at the grocery store. They were called Jimmy Dean sausage breakfast sandwiches or whatever.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. Like, I knew Jimmy Dean because the sausage.
Yes.
The breakfast sausage. They had they were little sausages or chicken patties on a biscuit. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Jimmy Dean.
I don't know. And again, this could be the thing of being a kid watching this. I'm like, that's not the same guy. That's not the same guy at all. But then it's like, that's Jimmy Dean, the sausage man. But like, what? What are you doing?
It's like, let's just cast Jimmy Dean, the guy who to play Willard White. I'm
trying to think of what that would be like today. If that'd be like, I don't know, back when he was alive, putting Dave Thomas, the Wendy's guy, in a Bond movie today. Like, I don't know what you're thinking with that.
This was his only, I believe, only feature film ever. And he was in James Bond, Diamonds Are Forever. It's insanity.
And I remember, they were saying during the making of this, because they wanted access to, because he gave them a lot of access to with filming, I believe, and stuff like that. So that he wanted to be a part of the film. He's a big Bond fan. And they're like, all right, well, we can get this for free if we put Jimmy Dean in the movie. Like, okay.
So strange.
Maybe this was their big start on product placement, everything. Jimmy Dean.
It was such a strange casting choice.
Yeah, very strange.
I don't really understand it, but nevertheless, she was there. I mean, he was there. We talked a little bit about Lana Wood and Tiffany Case, or Jill St. John. Here was something that I found that was interesting that I saw in a video on YouTube about this movie.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the movie, Sean Connery, during the filming of the movie, Sean Connery sees Lana Wood, as we all did, and said, "Oh, but of course you are." And they were together for a part of this movie. They were seeing one another,
the two
dating.
That makes sense.
And he was, I'm sure providing her plenty during their courtship. Then halfway through the movie, he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna date Jill St. John now." And he dated both. And I don't know what else happened, but he was linked romantically, I'll say, with both Jill St. John and Lana Wood during the filming of the movie. Yes. And here's another interesting wrinkle. Robert Wagner was the husband of Natalie Wood, who's Lana Wood's sister. Right. And there was a lot of weird stuff that happened on a boat where she ended up dying.
Huge. And
Christopher Walken was there. Really strange. But anyway, he was married to Natalie Wood, Robert Wagner. After her passing, he ends up getting married to Jill St. John, Tiffany Case in this movie. And after that, Lana Wood and Jill St. John were no longer friends after that, and they never spoke again after she married Robert Wagner because of all the weirdness that happened.
Man,
very strange. Very strange connections.
Lots of going on there.
This movie has. But again, so remind me, for Diamonds Are Forever, Charles Gray, which we saw in You Only Live Twice. As Henderson, returns. And are we to believe that Blofeld has had some plastic surgery so that he can be, is it Willard White?
Yes. And I remember there was one scene, because they had that whole mud pit thing, whatever, which was weird. But he did have I remember he walked by and he's got all the prosthetic masks, the different cheeks and the thing. So I'm like, okay, they're making a point. But again, you're watching these as a kid. There's no internet, so can't go on Bond Wikipedia or anything to find out anything. And you're like, what was in? I think he was in another movie. What? It just all was what? Yeah,
it was really strange.
Didn't work.
It's a strange plot. Strange plot
like that, and the whole end thing. He's on an oil rig. He's like, "Get me my batha sub," and he's getting that little boat, and he's just being knocked back and forth by it. It's just what is going on here? Yeah.
So this again, if you can't tell, it's not one of our favorites. Although it's one of my favorites in the same way that Diamonds Are Forever is one of my, or Die Another Day is one of my favorites. Is I know the quality of the film isn't there, but I just can't help but like it.
Yeah, I got to think of if there's one. Probably for me, the one that's like that is A View to a Kill.
Mm-hmm.
That one for me is just I know it's not a great film, and I know Tanya Roberts and him, it's 40 years, 30 years difference in age,
so
and
crazy.
It shouldn't work. And he even admits he was not his age he was looking his age at the time and shouldn't have been doing it. But
he was almost 60.
There's just something about that film that, even with all those faults, I still love the heck out of that film and love watching it.
Great song too. I can't wait to talk about View to a Kill. It's a really interesting movie. So that's really, I don't have a whole lot to say about Diamonds Are Forever. Other than me, it's very odd.
Yeah, what doesn't work, and I think this says a lot of times, Bond for me, when it's always set in America, doesn't work. Like we're American audiences, and I'm gonna, sort of see it like I know this country, I know what we are, but I know Vegas. It's like there's not that romanticism about the spy life and these far off countries. And it's funny because my girlfriend and I were planning a trip to Europe in 2023, and we were talking about what we wanted to do. And I said, you know what? I want to have a James Bond Mission Impossible, like all the cities that they talk about, in Italy and Prague and Budapest and these things. Like, so that's where I'm kind of, and she's been on board for it. She's like, well, all right, let's find locations you want to see from these films and we'll go there. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Not
that's awesome.
Going to Vegas. She always like, I want to get in the car. It's 4 hours. We can stop at the Alien Jerky store on the way to Vegas. There's a big like alien truck stop that sells the best jerky to Vegas. Like, and then thinking Bond in Vegas, it's like,
Yeah. I mean, I can see 60s, 70s. Vegas was at that time still kind of a romantic place in a way of like the mafia's there, the Rat Pack, Sinatra.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, for me, one of my favorite films of all time, Casino. Love that film. But it's an American, it's gangsters. It's not James Bond.
I love Ocean's 11 as well.
Yeah. Vegas in America, of course, works for movies, but when it's Bond, it just doesn't work for me.
I don't know. I definitely understand what you're saying about the American Bond, but Goldfinger's in Kentucky, right?
You're right. You're 100% right.
And then the next movie we talk about, Live and Let Die, takes place in New Orleans.
The old Filet of Soul.
Yes, at the Filet of Soul, which we will talk about. So I get that. I think that as far as for Connery, I know why he came back. I'm gonna pick up this check. That's why he came back.
Yeah.
And
he got a lot of like, I want to say, I don't want to give it to. We talk about it like the deal he made, and not just to act in film, but like to be like the control he had in this film. Like was kind of the first that he had. So there was a lot in there. And I think he give his $1 million away.
He gave it to like the Scottish young boys charity or something like that.
So he didn't even, of course he didn't need the money, but he just there's a lot of control and script and stuff like that he was able to get out of it coming back.
Well, there's the whole I know it's an acting thing you hear about movie star actors. It's one for them, two for me, or two for them, one for me kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that was kind of his deal with the studio, is he was able to go and had a couple movies greenlit for him no matter what, just to have him come back.
Yeah.
So this was a business move for him, and I think that's why
smart move.
He didn't try to get into the greatest of shape. He didn't try to drop any of the weight. He had the mutton chops and the graying of the temples, and just said, whatever. Y'all want me back as Bond. Here I am. I'm a date Lana Wood and Jill St. John while I'm making this movie in Vegas. Which actually brings me to some of my trivia for this one. Speaking of exactly what we're talking about. Okay. This was Sir Sean Connery was said to make the most of his time on location in Las Vegas. Quote, he was quoted by saying, "I didn't get any sleep at all. We shot every night. I caught all the shows. I played golf all day. On the weekend, I collapsed. Boy, did I collapse like a skull with legs." It was said that he also played the slot machines and once delayed a scene because he was going to collect his gambling winnings. So, that doesn't tell you that he kind of was a little bit checked out.
Yeah.
But
hey,
it's Sean Connery. This was another funny one that I noticed years ago, but Bond's escape through a moon landing movie set refers to the popular conspiracy theory of the time that the real moon landings were fake. The scene was filmed in a John Manville gypsum plant located just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. During filming, the moon buggy's wheels kept falling off, and in one scene where a car turns over, you can see one of the wheels had broken off the buggy, rolling into the foreground. The moon buggy was discovered rotting in a farmer's field in Kent, Nevada in the early 1990s, and was completely restored in 1993 by the James Bond International Fan Club. And in 2004, it was auctioned off and purchased by Planet Hollywood Las Vegas for $44,000.
Oh, okay.
There you are. And my last bit that I have from here is the Willard White kidnapping plot was based on a dream that producer Albert R. Broccoli had. He had known Howard Hughes in Hollywood and dreamt he was going to meet his old friend in Las Vegas, but when he entered Hughes's room, it was occupied by an imposter. Hughes was flattered and allowed Eon Productions to film inside his casinos and at his other properties. His fee was reported to be a 16 millimeter print of the movie.
Okay.
Howard Hughes, an odd guy.
Yeah, very odd.
Man.
Between that and his urine in jars and his fingernails.
Yes. A Texan. He was born in Galveston, I believe, or Humble. No, Humble, here in Houston, right outside of Houston. Humble, Texas. Okay, here we go, Mike.
Oh boy.
The moment everyone's been waiting for. Diamonds Are Forever.
Yes, sir.
1971.
Mm-hmm.
Its tomato score was what?
%62%.
And the tomato score is 64%. 64%, but very close. Very close. Just like our relationship, Moneypenny. The critics' consensus is Diamonds Are Forever is a largely derivative affair, but still completely entertaining nonetheless, thanks to great stunts, witty dialogue, and of course, the presence of Sean Connery. So that's what the tomato meter says about this movie.
He carried a lot of weight with critics. I think he really did.
He carried a lot of weight in this movie too. That's for sure.
There it is.
That's for sure.
There it is.
Oh well, you know what? We say goodbye for now to Sir Sean Connery as a new era of Bond begins. One that I believe, Mike, was a one that you were very fond of growing up.
Yes,
you just
sir.
talked about one of his movies, and we will see for the first time in our next episode the 45-year-old Sir Roger Moore in Live and Let Die. Mike, where can the people find you and follow you?
All socials at Mike Kalinowski.
And I'm just like him at all social media at Brad Gilmore. Go to BondJamesBondBook.com to subscribe to the podcast and also order the book, Bond James Bond, available right now wherever books are sold. But until next time, we're going to be talking Live and Let Die.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now? Oh, Brad, what have you done now?